This ain't no game, Flash.
Joe Hallenbeck's a private detective who's run out of luck.
If you touch me again, I'll kill you.
2 for 2.
Told you.
Jimmy Dix
I like Prince.
is an ex-quarterback who was thrown out of football.
Another tragic tale of wasted youth.
You're nobody.
Shh. Don't tell anyone.
They were trying to clean up their acts
You vacuum, I'll dust.
when they got dragged into the dirty world of sports corruption.
So you're gonna bribe some senators to legalize gambling?
Legalize.
Sports gambling. Now,
Son, we're going to a ball game.
they've got one shot
What am I gonna do? Point at the bad guys and shoot!
to get the goods on the bad guys.
Just once, I would like to hear you scream.
Play some rap music. How about these, man? Take your best shot.
If they don't kill each other first.
That was a bomb? Either that or a hell of a factory recall.
Bruce Willis, Damon Wayans, the last Boy Scout.
Danger's my middle name.
Mine's Cornelius. Don't tell anybody I kill you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of Podcasting Crime. My name is Kleve.
My name's Michael.
And today we watched a Bruce Willis buddy cop movie, which is not narrow it down because we could do a whole marathon of Bruce Willis buddy cop movies.
Specifically just for him.
For real. This one is, I almost want to say Halle Berry's big break. Although
It was her third film.
Yeah,
She was in a Spike Lee film and then something else and then this. But I would say this is probably the biggest, like the most successful movie she was in.
Which has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. But she was pretty good in it. And it was a point where nowadays you wouldn't kill off Halle Berry. You know what I mean? Like, we watched The Last Boy Scout from 1991 with Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans. How'd you feel about the movie?
Okay, so I don't know how in depth you want me to get on how I felt about this movie, but I would say this is actually one of my favorite movies that Bruce Willis has ever been in.
He did
probably
well.
my least favorite movie that Damon Wayans has ever been in.
Really? I thought he also did well.
I don't know why. It just felt rough. Like watching him do this one felt rough in comparison. And I feel like maybe it's because he did comedy before this and then went into this.
Well, I was going to say, was it serious acting you couldn't get over?
Yeah, because he didn't feel serious ever.
But everybody would make them quips. I don't know what, like, everyone had something to say after something else.
For whatever reason, I really liked Bruce Willis in this.
Really?
I don't know.
He was peaking at this point. He had just done Die Hard 1 and 2. And, I mean, Look Who's Talking 1 and 2. And then Damon Wayans apparently was also in Look Who's Talking
2.
I don't know why, but he was. You know what I didn't like about this movie? Is that Bruce Willis is like Junior, Son, Turbo, Flash. Like, kind of like how Men in Black did with Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. But that's fine because Tommy Lee Jones is a very old man, even though, don't call me boy. But there's a 5-year gap between Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans.
I think that Bruce Willis's character was supposed to be kind of an older, grislier guy, and Damon Wayans was supposed to be a younger buck.
I get what you're saying. I don't like rap. If you want to see me cry, put rap music on.
Yeah. No, there was a couple times that were cringy in this movie. And also, I would have gladly thrown his daughter out of a fucking building. I up until the very end, when all of a sudden she suddenly becomes a fucking like, oh my god, I love my dad because my dad's gonna save me from being murdered. All the way up until then, I would have thrown her out a fucking window.
I also want to point out, like, both men have tragic stories. So Bruce Willis was Secret Service. He stopped the president from being assassinated, and then was a bodyguard Secret Service for a senator who punched him in the face because he was being a super terrible person. And then he got fired, and the senator's kind of just been shitting on him ever since. That's rough. And his wife's cheating on him with his best friend. That's rough. That's some rough stuff going on. Damon's story is 1,000,000 times rougher to me than Bruce Willis' story was at all. Like, there's no comparison to me. I don't know how you feel, but he was at the height of his football career. He was gambling, apparently. He got in trouble for gambling, but also his 8-month pregnant wife got hit by a car and died on impact. And then they saved the son for 17 minutes. And then he died. And then he started using a bunch of drugs to get over the pain because he lost his whole family in just a swoop. And it might be the dad gene kicking back in, but when he was like, he got to live for 17 minutes, he fell asleep. He had a chance to dream once. I was like, fuck, that is sad.
What a depressing.
That's rough. Like, yeah, no, I would also do coke. I would also do coke. I was doing good. I was being a good guy, and everything got taken from me. Why not do coke? Why not do coke now? I'm just gonna do some coke. I'm just gonna do some coke.
Suddenly you become coke guy.
I mean,
Coca-Cola, guys. Friendship Supreme and Coke and Cola go hand in hand.
Yeah, right in my veins. Give me that sweet Coca-Cola.
Yeah, no, Damon Wayans' story was very tragic, and he also then watched his new girlfriend get riddled with bullets.
More inconsiderate than him making a joke right after her dying is me sitting there in the police station because my girlfriend had just passed, and some guy's like, "How much of the leather pants you wearing?" Fuck off.
Great question. Who's walking around in $650 pants? I love the very end of the film. They're like, "Oh, the other guy got the wrong suitcase." Haha. Laugh, chuckle real quick, and all of a sudden, giant explosion at the other side of fucking LA, and then they just erupt in laughter.
Yo, and then like, I guess, poor dogs that were there, because there was 2 dogs in the room with them as it went down.
Probably poor, cleaning staff. I don't know. True. Like, there's got to be.
Also, who set it off? Oh, was it supposed to set off as you opened it?
When you opened it.
Okay. So, how do you feel like their chemistry was? Let's ask that question.
I don't think it was bad. It was okay.
Okay. Not the best, not the worst.
Yeah, I mean, as I could buy that there would be a sequel with their buddies again.
Okay. Well, there won't be.
They hate each other?
Apparently, they do not like one another. Apparently, animosity was all over the fucking set.
I think that happens with Bruce Willis in a lot of his films.
I feel like that was.
I think it's definitely Bruce Willis that's the issue. While you're talking about this, don't forget that Eddie Griffin was in it as a stripper.
Eddie Griffin was in it
as a stripper DJ.
Good for you, Eddie Griffin. I saw you. He's in my notes, man. I saw him. I was like, DJ
I looked at him I swear to God, that's fucking Eddie Griffin. I had to pause it and like zoom in on my phone. Like, his fucking Eddie Griffin. Oh my God. But the other thing I have to say about this whole movie is I really wish I didn't have to watch the giant fucking dick measuring contest between Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis while Halle Berry is doing her dance. Let me fucking watch the dance, dog.
Yo, good more.
She started that, and I was like, hold on a second.
That wasn't her.
She started it. I was like, hold on.
I want you to rewatch it because it was headshot, boobs, ass, boobs, dancing from the neck down. Headshot. Right. So assistant director James Scotchdopole later recalls how some of production problems were caused due to overabundance of alpha males on the project. As he said in an interview, Bruce Willis was at the height of his stardom. So was Joel, which is the writer, I believe. So was Tony, who's the director, and so was Shane, who's the other writer. So, okay, so Joel wrote the script. Shane wrote for the movie, so like rewrites and shit. Apparently there was a lot of people where they just fucking, the dynamic wasn't working. Nobody liked one another, which is funny because I feel like this is a pretty good movie and nobody said anything I would have never known. The composer, who's Mikel Kamen, he hated the film. And the only reason that he provided the music was as a personal favor to his friend Bruce Willis and producer Joel Silver. So, which again, it's a good movie. So I don't know why
it was.
Nobody's
there were a ton of people in this movie. Like a ton of people that I saw that they may not be like A-list stars like Brad Pitt or some shit, but like there was a ton of people I recognized. Tony
like
Soprano's in this movie as an uncredited fucking thug.
And Eddie Griffin.
That's Tony fucking Soprano. He had like a 10-year run on a huge HBO show.
The Sopranos.
The Sopranos. The marching band that you see in it. Fun fact, that's the USC marching band.
Nice. So in this movie, Bruce Willis is hired as a private detective, even though he answers to the cop. I don't know. To protect this girl who gets murdered, and the girl that gets murdered is the girlfriend of Damon Wayans' character, and they go out to solve the crime. Spoilers, they solve it, but like also I feel like they didn't do enough for me. And I feel like they didn't do enough because we kind of just let the senator go with a gut punch and a punch to the face.
Yeah.
We didn't
it
solve.
It felt a lot like we got to the end. Like it felt like we filmed for 30 days and then like we're like, fuck, we gotta have this finished in 32 days, guys. And then like wrap it the fuck up. And yeah, no, I agree. It was like they did not give you any real payoff. It was like almost like a fucking Mentos commercial.
Yes.
That's exactly how I would think of it. Like we got to the end and they popped a Mentos and like, we're good. Don't worry about it, guys.
I would agree 1000% that it was like the guy blew up. It's like full of life, and then cut the credits. Because like the senator was crooked and was about to get bought off, and he ruined Bruce Willis's life.
He did,
and we just kind of didn't do anything about it. His name is Joe in the movie. Hallenbeck and Jimmy Dix.
The president in this film plays Jimmy Carter in multiple other movies as, Jimmy Carter, the president. So
nice.
If that's the one thing you get to play as all the time, I'm not mad about it. Yeah, there's just a lot of people that were in this film that were like minor role people. Again, like Eddie Griffin. What's the other guy? He's in Sons of Anarchy as Tiggs.
I don't know Sons of Anarchy, so you're on your own.
Kim Coates. Chelsea Ross, who played Senator Baynard, really looked like a young Billy Bob Thornton. I was convinced they were related.
The guy that played Milo, the assassin for hire, he reminded me of the guy from Will and Grace.
He does remind me of the guy from Will and Grace. He's I saw him. I was like, I've seen him in a bunch of things.
Yeah. But also can name nothing.
Yeah, he's in like Angels in the Outfield. A lot of them are in something called Super Capers together, which I find interesting and I'm kind of curious about. He's also in a ton of Disney shows.
Fun fact for you, the word fuck was used 102 times.
They did swear a lot.
Yeah, this was...
The 13-year-old daughter kept calling him a fuck up.
And he wasn't even a bad guy.
No.
Like, okay, so, and that's what's funny, I think, about his character is because he is an asshole. Like, right? And it's like, this is those movies that ruin several generations for thinking, like, it was cool to just be a fucking dick constantly. But he was good at his job. He was loyal to his wife. He was there for his dog. Like, why was he seen as such a bad guy? Like, if I got fired from that job watching The Senator and I told my wife, hey, this is what happened, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't be like, can't wait till you leave so I can fuck your best friend. It just seemed very. Also, he just accepts her back, and she gets to hug him, and they have a moment. And I'm like, I'm glad everything works out for her.
We had that conversation with Damon Wayans when he was like with Jimmy, where Jimmy's like, said something about like, well, do you really want this? All right, so you're gonna get a divorce? He's like, yeah. He goes, which my favorite line in the whole film, three things that always exist: water's wet, sky's blue, women have secrets. But then that he said it again, but at this time his third thing was, unfortunately, I still love my wife.
Right, but like, let that be your character growth, is that you can let this cheating wife go with your best friend.
Fair.
Not just a guy, because here's the difference. It's not just a guy. It's this guy who is his best friend, who gave him a job to get
trying
murdered.
to kill him killed.
Yeah.
We really didn't dive into that too much either.
Mm-mm.
There's you know what? It's like you and I were just sitting around the table drinking. I'm like, let's pitch a good movie to each other, and we just start throwing out all these different problems that can happen to a couple of people,
and then we just did it.
But at the end, someone's like, okay, that sounds great. Like, but how do we finish it? Like, oh yeah, like a mansion blows up in LA. I don't know.
Yeah,
4 or 5 years, we're good.
Look, it's late. I gotta go home. Let's just say the mansion blew up.
Blow up a mansion. Flash forward a month, and everybody's good. Don't worry about it.
So, would you like to hear more controversy besides the
always
the hatred that the whole cast and crew had for one another?
I really blame Bruce Willis because this is not the first time we've heard this, and
this is when he still cared about acting.
When he's around.
So, imagine in later movies where he's like, I could give two shits about what this movie's about. A riot nearly occurred during the filming at Los Angeles Coliseum. Hundreds of extras were recalled for a second day of shooting, but a last-minute decision was made to cancel the recall. The extras were not informed of the decision and arrived expecting a day of work. They were refused pay by the production. They began to surge against the barriers and surround the set. Riot police were called to disperse the crowd.
Man, how embarrassing. Like, just pay him at that point and just fucking film whatever you can.
How much does it cost you? And how much have you spent on this movie already? Let's be real. Their budget was 43 mil.
Oh.
Box office made 114.5 mil. Baby factors.
I had never heard of this film.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it was not bad. I enjoyed it a lot. A lot more than I thought I would.
How would you feel if Jimmy Dix, instead of being played by Damon Wayans, was played by who was considered Mel Gibson?
Oh my God.
Okay, let me tweak it a little more for you. Instead of Bruce Willis for Joe, we cast Jack Nicholson. Those were the first two actors considered.
I could have seen that
for this movie.
Jack Nicholson, I wouldn't have been mad. I think at the younger Jack could have been interesting.
I mean, younger is 1991.
Dude was 40.
Oh, it's Bruce. It doesn't matter.
What I will say is that if Bruce Willis were on the Fast and Furious saga, there would have been even more issues than with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh man. Can you imagine? That's why I'm so surprised the Expendables was able to exist. Because
most of them didn't actually have to interact with each other, and they all got to collect fat fucking paychecks.
That's fair.
And plus, if you weren't in the Expendables, though, like that series, you weren't an action star. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
past, present, or future, you don't get to be considered an action star unless you were in that film.
Which is such a crock of shit to me, but whatever. I think it's funny that Mel Gibson was almost Jimmy Dix because Mel Gibson was offered the Die Hard role and Bruce Willis was offered the Lethal Weapon role, and both of them turned on it. There's so much crossover. Apparently, Shane Black?
Yeah, the man obsessed with Christmas.
And writing buddy cop films. Lethal Weapon 2, The Last Boy Scout, Lethal Weapon 3, Lethal Weapon 4, The Nice Guys, Lethal Weapon, the TV show, which had Damon Wayans in it. And apparently there was a lot of lines that were used in all of his movies that he just keeps reusing.
I believe that.
The conversation about the pants in Lethal Weapon, there was the conversation with Raj and his daughter, and he's like, they were talking about the New Year's Eve dress, and he's like, is there a little television in it? And she says no, and he goes, I'm very old. Line for line. Like, also in this movie, how do we let this man keep making movies? We might do The Nice Guys. That was a good film. Oh,
We
just shitting on the guy for a second, but
we reviewed this movie solely because it was a Christmas film.
yes, it was a Christmas film
Was
because Satan Claus.
Which was just a fictional character that his daughter drew.
Apparently, Google also confirms that this is a Christmas movie, and it said it's Christmas time. But I almost want to just go back into it because I don't see it anywhere.
They never really talk about it, but it is Christmas, apparently. We'd love to know if you guys think it's Christmas.
Yeah, am I missing something besides Satan Claus? You know what? Also, the reason I distinctly remember this movie more than anything, because Bruce Willis and Damon, what they do later on is fuzzy, but the opening scene with the football player and pulling the gun and like shooting his way to the end zone, I've always remembered that.
That was a scene. That happened, and I was like, we just flashed to something else. And until the very end of the film, we do not confirm that that was a real thing. I thought maybe we were having a bad dream.
Yeah. I'm not even sure I remember why that happens in this movie. Is
They
it just because
at
of
the very end?
just because of gambling?
Yeah, that they're just pushed to the edge. His was because of gambling. That's why he got that call that was like, "You better, make these catches."
Yeah.
So someone got to him, and yeah.
Instead of "Ain't Life a Bitch" and blowing your head off, he was supposed to say, or he was going to say, "I'm going to Disneyland," which I think would have hit a lot harder and been a lot more interesting than "Ain't Life a Bitch." "Ain't Life a Bitch" seems like a really weird last words.
It feels like Disney would have had a problem with that.
But it was the Super Bowl phrase. Okay, but end of the day, are they one hell of a cop or do they take their badge of gun?
One hell of a cop. In fact, give Damon Wayans a badge too.
No, he's gonna get
Bring
one.
him on the force.
Apparently, I could have seen this spinning off into a TV show, like a year later or so, and just cast two actors who liked each other, and
not people that absolutely despise each other, just two people that won't murder each other.
See, I want to say that they're hell of a cop, but I feel like we let the senator go, and I feel like you didn't complete your case. You had your Mentos moment at the end, and then rode off to the sunset. Meanwhile,
my man missiled a fucking football, busted the senator's nose open.
Dog, he showed it off once.
He broke two white people's noses off with a fucking football.
That man hit the box seats. That man hit the box seats
like it was nothing.
With his shot hand.
Yeah, because after he threw it, he's like, "Ow, no, sir."
I like at the end when Bruce Willis throws the football to him, and I'm thinking to myself, don't throw shit to me in my fucking hand. The hole in it.
No, okay. Best scene, whole film. As much as I hate her, that fucking puppet scene. The daughter who's a fucking psychopath talking to a puppet the whole time. But then Randall was like, "You should take this. Here, you try to make him have him." And then he starts telling fucking jokes about everybody around him.
Here's how I know that doesn't work, because I'm doing a very shady deal, and this little girl walks up, and I go, "Bam!" And that little girl's gone now, because don't just walk up. She didn't even "I'm lost," or she didn't try to call nothing. She was like, "Yeah, I'm here. What's up? What you gonna do about it?"
She handled that puppet though with a gun in it, and that was just like, this is the best.
So, what was your least favorite Damon part? Because I would say
he just felt unnatural in it, and maybe it's because I would tell you he felt a lot like Major Payne in this, with a little less of the rigidness of Payne, and that didn't feel like it fit that role. I feel like he
didn't have a lot of movie stuff before this.
I can't remember his character's name in "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker," but I feel like that would have been a better character to kind of pull from. Leonard. It would have been a better character to pull from than Major Payne, which was actually after that movie. But "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker," I think was his first major film that he did, at least with
he's credited for Beverly Hills Cop as Banana Man, a movie called Roxanne, which I have no familiarity with, but Steve Martin's in it, and he's got a big fucking nose. I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell you too much about that. Different World TV show. Colors.
Like the movie Colors?
Yeah.
Like about the undercover gang unit?
Cop of the Breaking Pro, told the streets of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
With Sean Penn?
I don't know. I knew he was in that.
Maybe he's super small in it. He plays T-Bone. Does that help you?
Man, I haven't seen that movie I used to fucking love the shit out of that movie.
Earth Girls Are Easy.
Yeah, he is in that with Jeff Goldblum. He's one of the aliens in it.
What? Of course, fucking Jeff Goldblum's in it. Punchline.
I'm familiar with Punchline.
Sally Field and Tom Hanks and John Goodman.
All right, that's
A lot of heavy
power
hitters.
cast.
Lucas talking to, and then the last Boy Scout. After that was Mo Money.
More money. No, yeah, I would just say that, like, for whatever reason, he felt this was supposed to be what I would consider a more serious film, and it didn't feel like he got that memo.
Like, yes and no. Like, it felt like it was supposed to be serious, but like everyone was cracking jokes the entire time. Everybody. And like quips, and it felt like an fucking MCU movie. It felt like an MCU movie.
That's fair.
I'll say that they're one hell of a cop, but like it's a very thin line of taking that fucking
They're on
magic
probation.
gun because the fucking there's two main villains.
One died.
I mean,
And
yeah,
one
but
got
that
the-
wasn't even their plan either.
One got his nose busted and then his gut punched. Does that make you feel better?
I guess I like that the hitman, who was probably the least guilty, got riddled with bullets and then fell into a helicopter.
I love Bruce Willis saying, "Not me, not me."
Laying down, yeah. Yeah, no. All right. They're good cops, whatever.
We'll put him on probation, man.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, they're not Taxi, so
Yo, you remember when you made me watch Taxi with fucking Jimmy Fallon and Queen Latifah?
I've always needed a reason to come back to that movie, and now I've got it.
Remember Theodore Rex?
Or you should do this with that in every fucking. This was a good one. We don't even need to relive the terrible, terrible world.
Oh, you mean Collision Course?
Collision Course was good, man. You know it was. It's fucking this
Riddled
and
with racism.
Lethal.
Whatever,
This
don't worry about it.
and Lethal Weapon and Turner and Hooch, kind of.
Turner Hooch was good.
So there's been some goods with the bads. You want me to start putting some good ones in with all the contents with the bad, all the contents with the bad. That's
Can you
a
guys
deal.
please just let us know if you think this is a Christmas movie or not?
Yeah, I need someone to tell me because I have no fucking idea. Buddy cop movies didn't start here, but Bruce and Damon might as well have. Action, comedy, strippers, and puppets. The Last Boy Scout is one hell of a cop. Case closed.